Who here thinks they know what it means to be alive? Every culture throughout history, by and large, has a different viewpoint on what it means to be alive or simply what life is. One of these ways, one of these viewpoints is Hylozoism. Since I first began researching this idea, I found that multiple philosophers such as Thales, Anaximenes, and Heraclitus have all come back to this viewpoint at one point or another to explain some phenomena. And as a minor in philosophy myself, this very much interested me. I think as college students, we're responsible for learning multiple different viewpoints from many different cultures. And by the end of this speech, you should be able to understand the viewpoint of Hylozoism and its value. Today, I will tell you what Hylozoism is and how it originated, some applications in older times, and some new applications closer to today. First off, what is Hylozoism and how did it originate? Well, Webster's Dictionary defines Hylozoism as the doctrine that all matter has life, simply put. It originated in the 6th and 7th centuries as philosophers were first observing magnets. They could tell that there was an attraction between two metals, but they couldn't explain it. Not with the science that they had back then. So they took a more philosophical viewpoint at this. There must be some force pushing these two metals together. They thought that there was a life force. William A. Hammond, a philosopher at the University of Vermont, wrote a paper where he defined many different viewpoints similar to Hylozoism and compare and contrast them. Some of these include Jainism, which is the theory that all organic matter has a soul, the world soul, the idea that the planet has a soul, and animism, which is probably the closest to Hylozoism of these three. Animism is the idea that all matter has a soul, even a rock or a house or an object or a place. Hylozoism takes the word soul and switches it over to a force, an energy, if you will. Now let's look at some older applications of Hylozoism. In the Renaissance, philosophers looked to Christianity to apply Hylozoism. One of these ways is Christian pantheism, which is the idea that God is in everything and God is the life force. Another way of thinking is Platonic Christianity. And that is the idea that God puts life force into everything. Different than Hylozoism. Hylozoism, they extrapolated on Hylozoism and brought it to the idea that this life force has a meaning. Hylozoism is more random. In the 19th century, Ernst Haeckel wrote a book called The Riddle of the Universe. This explained a little bit of chaos theory in that the force is random. Lastly, let's look at some new applications of Hylozoism and how it isn't just a relic of the past. Jeffrey Goldstein found two ways that Hylozoism could be applied in recent studies. One of these ways is May and Feigenbaum's explanation of one-humped maps. This, surprisingly enough, is an application of nonlinear physics. This is where chaos theory comes into play. Hylozoism, being a force of life throughout the universe and all matter, applies itself to this theory as chaos theory explains that there are no predictions to be made about the universe and that everything is random. which comes into play when you see something as a rock has a life force. It doesn't have rules to it. This kind of takes the laws of physics and extrapolates on it. Secondly, Maturana and Valera's definition of autopoiesis, which is the theory of cells regenerating without matter. Hylozoism also plays a part in this, as it's giving more matter to the cell to be able to split. These are just two ways that it's currently being used. Today, I have showed you what Hylozoism is, applications, and new applications of the theory.